Hello everyone, this is Sean Ray, also known as Clossi Online. I am back with another game review video. Today we have a 15Q versus a question mark, and since it's a question mark, I'm assuming it's the same range, so we're going to assume both players are 15Q for the sake of this review. It says one's a 23Q and one's a 22Q. So maybe that's their AGA rating, and their OGS rating is 15Q. Either way. If we're in the 20 Qs, then we really want to work on seeing liberties, so don't miss Ataris, and seeing our cuts, so don't get cut, especially on the first and second line. And if you need practice with that, I highly recommend playing 100 small board games, like 13x13 and 9x9, 100 of each. That will really just fine-tune your ability to see liberties and see cuts, so it'll make you really, really strong really quickly. But otherwise, if you're in the double-digit Qs, you can still do that exercise if you want, just to get practice reading on the first and second and third and fourth lines. The small boards are really helpful for the first to fourth lines. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get into this game and see how it goes. Alright, let's get some Sanrin-sei versus Nirin-sei. This is perfectly fine. This is fine. Normally we see an approach, but this is also fine. This is not okay. Because a Moyo is meant to be built from the side and built up like a bowl. But if you're playing like this and white simply goes here, the Tengen stone actually doesn't have much meaning because it's not building up anything. All it looks like it's doing is reducing white's Moyo. But black had the initiative, so black could have very easily built its own Moyo. So if black had gone like right here, for example, and made a large influence, and then if white keeps doing his own thing, white could build up his Moyo like a bowl and build it up and make it very large, and it's very profitable. That's the way you want to build up a Moyo. You don't want to play this Tengen because it doesn't really get you any points technically, because as soon as white plays here, this is surrounding 0 points, so technically this move is worth 0 points. It is good for supporting invasions, but you're the one with the Moyo. You should have been making the Moyo rather than trying to reduce or invade because your area was larger. So it's a little bit bad style, but we'll see how it goes. Star point here. I think someone likes star points too much. I think this is blinded by the dots on the board. This doesn't really... Okay, it does something, but if you wanted to play on your opponent's side, usually you would play third line so that we can make a base very easily. You could also approach a corner to get some follow-ups and put pressure on the corner, and these would be very easy ways to invade and live on your opponent's side, at least on an open side, very easily. This high move looks like you want to escape quickly, like as if you're deep behind enemy lines, and you're not that deep because you have a lot of follow-ups. And you're also not developing that much because there's white stone on both sides, so it doesn't really develop anything. So I think this move is a little off the mark. I think it was just blinded by star points. Alright, so white chooses to approach a corner, perfectly fine. If you wanted to build the Moyo, it would be a knight's move, not a touching move, because the touching move actually makes white stronger, and white will get a lot of follow-ups in the corner. To this move, white is supposed to Hane and either take the tiger's mouth or take the 3-3. In this case, I think 3-3 would be good, because if black wants to be consistent with his direction, he has to make this ugly empty triangle shape. And yeah, he gets a Moyo, but white can simply come in and invade, or white can reduce very easily on the line of the influence, so it's okay for white to play this way. Okay, but yeah, this is a little bit slack, so black continues to build the Moyo perfectly fine. When you're... Try not to push from behind too many moves in a row. You want to jump ahead as soon as you can, because pushing from behind actually gives your opponent more than it gives you. So you want to jump ahead as soon as you can. So I think this would be the next move. But I think we're still at open corners and open sides. So honestly, I think getting this and this exchange would be very nice, and then going here to kind of undercut this stone and make it lose its meaning. And black also gets a very nice bottom side, because remember, side is bigger than center. So I think this would be more important to do first, and then you could always build up the center over there later. Alright, so white is continuing to respond. You can always walk in the corner and like this, and then after you get 4 in a row, you can actually tanuki or play away and approach that, attack that, and then get your own position and start building up a lot of points. This area isn't as large as it looks. This area isn't as large as it looks because it's very easy for white to just come in and reduce. Reduce, 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 and then as soon as he gets that, white will get that while reducing, so it actually loses its value. That was just an example. not the exact moves. But, okay, black continues with this one area. This area is a little bit small compared to the side. Don't push from behind. Jump ahead as soon as you can. And then you can build up your bottom left corner. Okay, so white has Sente. Again, with the pushing from behind, this is not you don't have to respond, and it's not Sente anymore. So this is a little bit small. And a lot of small moves. Both players are walking. Black's trying to cut, which is possible, but this is trying to destroy this area. You could easily destroy this area by going here. And if white tries to keep it, you can take the corner, and the trade is okay for you. Yeah. So this cut might be a little too soon to attack right here. Oh, someone missed a cut. Both players missed a cut, actually. Save the cutting stones. It's quite big. And a little kitty, if you like cats. Is in my lap. Cutting stones are big. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I think maybe it's more accurate to say that they're in the 20 queues than the 15 queues, because neither player is actually playing the open sides, and both players missed some cuts. And I think that's pretty important. So really work on getting some small board experience on top of your actual games, so that way you can improve your ability to see these cuts and see the small liberties. I think that's going to be very important for your improvement. All right, so white did fix it. So now black's in a lot of trouble, because now black can't connect out, and black's completely surrounded by white with no eyes. Okay. This isn't going to really do anything. You need to make eyes. So get to the side and start making eyes. Maybe get a forcing move. Get to the side and maybe make some eyes. White's defending his weak group, but I would defend it here, so these 4 stones can't go anywhere, and then these 4 stones will be alive because the cutting stones die. Okay, jump. Alright, but now you're defended, so now you need to come back and attack the weak group. So weak groups first. This one is much weaker than this one on the bottom. Tiger's Mouth is Vital Point. It's a very strong Vital Point. Tiger's Mouth, stay connected when you're defending. This is all very, very small. Black could easily just make a base here. And if you go in, I can block. Especially here. Black can make a base. I think all of these moves were very, very small. Don't play the first and second line in the opening, especially during a contact fight, because there's not really eyes. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run. So you need to start taking the base first. So I think a lot of practice on small boards is needed to understand what's important in a fight. A lot of yelling in the comments. You can Atari and then Tiger's Mouth. This will connect because now it's 2 Tiger's Mouths. Oh, someone missed the ladder. Yep. Well, the thing here is, it doesn't really matter how good you are at making points or how good you are at building a large influence. If you don't know how to fight, then you're going to miss things like these, because all white has to do is actually continue walking up. The Moyo gets destroyed, these stones are dead, and white easily wins. So missing these types of cuts and ladders and liberties, these things can't happen, because then you can't rely on any of your moves to not mess up in the future. So for example, every plan you come up with it, you execute it, and then you have to worry about, am I going to miss an Atari or miss a cut or miss a ladder? Am I going to worry about any of this? I think if you start worrying about those things, or you can't rely on yourself not to do those things, then it doesn't matter how good of a position you get. you won't be able to do anything with it. So really, really work on these touching battles. Really, really work on these touching fights. And I think the best way for you to work on that is play 100 13x13 games and 100 9x9 games. This will let you master all the cuts and liberties on the first and second line on 9x9. And on 13x13, it'll help you really understand the third and fourth line, what's important, how to make a base, how to steal a base, how to stay connected, how to see your liberties. I think that's going to be very important for you. If you can play 100 of each of those, then it'll be much easier to fight in these contact fights, and then you'll have an edge over your opponent because you'll be able to read in these contact fights. And remember, the most important things in contact fights are going to be cuts and liberties. If you can see these two things, then you're doing really good. One thing I didn't point out, or because I didn't notice it, there's an Atari right here, and white can't connect. So at any time, white can do this, and I think it came about right here. You got to play here. So again, cuts and liberties, cuts and liberties. Your position can fall apart so fast if you don't understand these cuts and liberties. So regardless of how fast you make territory, regardless of how big of a position you have, if you can't do these contact fights, then you can easily lose any position that you have. So really work on these contact fights first, and then you can worry about making your position as big as possible. But hopefully you guys found that helpful. I would like to encourage you guys to be a little bit more respectful in the comments, because I'm seeing a lot of shouting comments. That's not what this game's about. This game's really about having courtesy for your opponent and having respect for your opponent, because your opponent might teach you things. Your opponent is just as good as you are. Maybe they're a different level, maybe not, but regardless, you are supposed to give it your best. And if you lose, then try to figure out what your opponent did that caused you to lose, and then you can learn from it. So your opponent is your best teacher. So try to have respect for your opponents, guys. So, and let's not shout in the chat. That's my advice anyway. That's my recommendation. But hopefully you guys will found this review helpful. Try to play those small boards. I think it'll really help you out and just gain that experience in the contact fights. But hopefully you guys found it helpful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.